The debate preempted television programming across the country, with Democratic and Republican representatives making their points a minute or two at a time.
Our 10 News reporter John Horn joins us live in studio, and after just a few of these short speeches, John, it all began to sound very familiar.
I mean, that's just the way these things are set up. I mean, you can skip an hour at a time, tune back in, and it's if you didn't miss anything. And Republicans and Democrats often repeating the same points over and over. And political analysts say we can only expect that to continue.
The president used the power of his public office to obtain an improper personal political benefit at the expense of America's national security.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi kicking off 6 hours of debate, summing up the argument to impeach President Trump. Republican Doug Collins of Georgia quickly firing back, calling it a political rush job.
Because to the clock and the calendar, facts don't matter. The promises to the base matter. And today is a promise kept for the majority. Not a surprise.
The speeches continued on for hours, Democrats and Republicans each taking a minute or two to state their case. But very rarely did they actually directly respond to each other.
You're not going to convince the person standing next to you. They are not your audience.
UC San Diego political analyst Thad Kauser says the way this is set up is for show. Different representatives are trying to reach their constituents who may not be watching live. But the clips of them either deriding or defending President Trump could serve them well come the election.
So it is get your press release out, get your talking points out, put them on video.
Kauser says nobody expects the Senate to convict President Trump and that American voters will ultimately judge the president and, by association, the impeachment. That's why Kauser doesn't expect anyone to break ranks.
At the end of the day, which side each group is taking is purely dictated by their party lines.
And the impeachment trial would, of course, take place in the Senate. But first, senators would have to pass a resolution on the rules for the trial. And an interesting question moving forward is whether any Republican senators would break ranks to give the Democrats any say in the procedure. Kauser tells me right now that appears unlikely.
All right, we will follow it. Thank you, John.